His answer is quick and sure. I would never force you to do anything, but I would ask you, what are you really afraid of? Being hurt by me or falling in love with me?
Oh, so
Oh.
good. So
Oh,
good.
if my tongue is evil, then let me help you sin.
Oh, shut it.
Welcome to Morally Gray Babes. We're your hosts, Jen and Amber, two unapologetic book addicts diving deep into the steamiest reads, hottest book boyfriends, and those spicy moments that make you blush.
Amber here. And we're not just here to talk plot twists and character arcs. We're breaking down everything from our favorite quotes to the spice levels that really bring the heat.
Expect a lot of laughs, a little cussing, and some seriously hot takes. Whether we're gushing over fictional men or dishing out the truth on what books deserve the hype, nothing is off limits.
So buckle up, Buttercup, and get ready for real, raw, and totally unfiltered book talk. Because we're the book besties you didn't know you needed.
Hello, Amber.
Hi, Jen. We're back again. This time we're doing The Saint and the Sinner Duet by Harmony West. So, this is a dark romance with following tropes: masked stalker, kidnapping, toucher, and I'll unalive you vibes. So, some of the kinks that are in this book are, like we said, a masked stalker, kidnapping, revenge, knife and gunplay, and drowning. So, if these are giving you any kind of triggers, this may not be the episode for you. This may not be the duet for you. But if you are okay with any of these things, want to dabble in it just a little bit, stay tuned because we are going to talk about this little duet, which I happen to love in a weird way. So, do you want to give the blurb or do you want me?
No, you go ahead and give the blurb.
Okay, so like I said, this is a duet. And so for me, these books were like, I want to say Her Saint was less than 200 pages. His Sinner was 200 pages. So for me, I felt like this was one book.
Yes.
Where it
Yes.
ends on the last sentence on Her Saint, it picks up exactly where it left off for His Sinner. And so for me, I was like, this could have just been one book. So I'm going to say both blurbs because Her Saint is, like I said, the first in this stalker romance duet. It ends on a cliffhanger, and Saint and Briar do get their happily ever after, but it's in book two, His Sinner. So we're just going to say both of the blurbs.
Perfect.
Her Saint. He's a writer who's finally found his muse, and he's never letting her go. Briar. My student is stalking me. Saint Dehaas follows me around campus, to my car, to my house. He insists I'm his muse no matter how much I object, and he wants to keep me all to himself. So when my date turns up dead, I know whose fingerprints are all over the crime scene. Saint is smart, but I'm smarter. I'm going to prove he's stalking me and get him thrown behind bars. And no matter what he says, I'm sure as hell not going to fall for my stalker. Saint. I finally found my muse, and I'm never letting her go. But Briar is so busy hiding and running from me, she doesn't notice how I'm improving her life. I get rid of the loser date who's hiding a few girlfriends and venereal diseases. I follow her around campus so her boss doesn't try something worse than groping her in class. I can make all her dreams come true. Give her anything her heart desires if she just stop running and give in. She's my muse, and when I finally make her mine, I'll be her saint. Oh.
Mm. I just got butterflies like when I was reading the book again.
Oh my god, it's so good. I love it. Okay, so His Sinner is the second book in this duet, and it goes, he's her saint, and now she'll be his sinner. Saint. Briar is more than my muse. She's my soulmate. She just doesn't know it yet. After a writing retreat in seclusion with me, she'll never want to leave. And if she does, perhaps I simply won't let her. After all, what's a saint without his sinner? Briar. My mass stalker is forcing me to stay with him in his gothic manner. He claims we're here for a writing retreat, but I know the real reason he brought me here. I'm his muse and he's going to lock me up forever. But I can't leave my life behind. I won't, no matter how much he makes me want to stay, especially when it comes like Saint Haas may not be the only one stalking me. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I read the first it was 190 pages, the first book.
Mhm.
And I have to say that I was frustrated because the writer was literally getting me to like a morally black character. And yet, I became obsessed with these characters. It was a super easy, quick read. It's something that I would typically read in a day. I didn't on this first one because I was babysitting my grandchildren who are like almost 2 and almost 4, so I didn't have time really to read, and it took me a little longer, but I kept reading and going, I can't believe I like him. I cannot believe I like him." And then, because obviously, like, this is would be a huge red flag, but it is so good. And I wrote before I got into book 2, I am obsessed. I highly recommend this book, and I'm diving into book 2, eagerly reading because I'm just so excited to see how it turns out. They were it was a real page turner. Like, I almost didn't want to finish one of the last sentence or 2 so I could turn the page and see what else was happening. Like, that's how I felt with the first book. What was your thought on the first
I
book?
so I remember picking up this book and telling you, knowing going into the weekend knowing that you weren't gonna be able to read as quickly as I was.
Mhm.
I had 2 sick little ones at home, and so we were having, like, this movie marathon, and I was sitting on the couch reading while they were, resting, and I just I remember I blew through both these books in, like, a day. And
For real.
I remember reaching out to you and like, "We're gonna read this dark, masked stalker romance." And then I remember telling you, "I think I'm obsessed with Saint, the stalker. I feel like these are red flags." And I was just like, "I love his mouth. I love his devotion to her."
When she says she loves his mouth, she loves his dirty, filthy language.
Oh, it's so juicy. The way he speaks, and I remember telling my husband, "You don't talk like this." Like, and I remember reading some of the quotes, and he was like I remember him turning slowly as he's cooking dinner, right? So he's cooking dinner for the family, and he's turning slowly to me. He's like, "So you can't tell that I love you? You can't tell I'm obsessed with you? I'm cooking dinner." And he's like, "So you want more words and less action?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't."
No.
I was like, "No, no, no, no."
Girl, step up your game, babe. Step it up.
Well, maybe once in a while you can say something, but I thoroughly enjoyed the storyline. I love the mini plot twists throughout the book, which no spoilers, right? I thought the side characters and the folks' backstories were well done. Like I said, absolutely loved how obsessed and possessed and protective our male main character was for her. It was deliciously dark. The extremes he was willing to go and did go for her, even handing her a knife if she wanted to end his life, like, if she did not feel safe, he, like, handed her a knife, and he's like, "If you don't feel safe, take me out." I mean, he said it.
'Cause yeah, 'cause I don't wanna live if you don't yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't trust me or
So,
you don't wanna
I
whatever.
thought it was well done. I wasn't exactly sure, why these were put into 2 books and not just 1 standalone,
I agree 100%.
but the ending of his Sinner was the sweetest with the dedication, and I felt like it was very. It's gonna sound weird that we're talking about this dark mass stalker, but I felt like it was very rom-commy movie worthy. However, the rest of the book was dark and twisted.
Totally agree with you. For book 2, it was his in particular in book 2, it was building in book 1. But in particular for book 2, it was his unrelenting need, like obsessive need to for her safety and for her love. Like it was yes, obsession, but at its best.
Oh,
And oh my gosh, it was an amazing read. The words written are brilliant. the way she reveals things and her story, the way that she built the story, like, sometimes it's heavy on world building, sometimes it's heavy on character building. This one was, like, the perfect amount of both of that. And FYI, it had the best proposal for marriage ever.
It did. It had a really good proposal. I would say 2 things. 1, I loved the subtle ways that the author showed this character was obsessed, right? "Sorry, is your passcode 0229?" "It is." "That's my birthday," she explains. "Funny coincidence." Like, those kind of things were put in the book, I thought were so well done, and I also loved the banter and the snarky heroine. Like, I I don't know, I just resonate with someone that's snarky, but when she's talking to her friend about going on this blind date, and she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go out for tacos," right? And the friend's like, "What? Tacos?" And she's like, "Because if he turns out to be a total dud, at least I'll get tacos out of it. And if I shit myself while we're fucking, I never have to see him again." I died. I think that's when I put the book down and texted Jen. It was like, "You're gonna love the humor in this character." Like,
Let's do the dedication real quick,
oh,
and then I have you and I are both have probably a million scenes, I'm sure, with scenes slash quotes.
mm,
But the dedication for these books, for the one book, first book, it says for every sinner searching for her saint. And book two was for every saint searching for his sinner. And I was like, ah, that's totally on the nose. Better than no dedication.
yes.
One of the first scenes in the first book that I actually like put down, copy down, is this is what she says. Shit. He can't be asking me out. I can't say no to a face that's practically begging for me to sit on it.
Oh, that was a good one.
Or no, my biggest fan has a body that deserves to be immortalized in fiction. I mean, it's just it's like you take a sentence or two in this book and you could like wrap a big fat bow around it because it's like perfectly glorious. Like it's cheeky, but it's descriptive, but it's thought provoking, like all at the same time. That's what I felt through all the books.
I loved it. One of the things that I loved in her Saint was whenever he's approached, right? Saint is approached by this college student, I think, basically trying to hit on him. And he is saying that he's waiting for his girlfriend. And she's like, "Oh, well, that's not like your wife yet, right?" And his quote is, "A girlfriend who will become my wife. You can't compete with my biggest fan." And I was like, "Oh, love."
The way that he talked to her would scare any woman off. I'm just saying, not his
Direct.
whole his whole interest, his whole life is about her. So one of the scenes was, "What have I told you, Briar? You're my muse. Where you go, I follow. What you need, I give. What you crave, I provide. I am yours to use as you see fit, to fulfill all your desires, and you are my inspiration. You are the pen that writes my words, the body that owns my cock, the laugh that owns my heart, the mind that owns my soul." I
See,
am dying over these
and
words.
my hamster doesn't say that, he just cooks dinner.
Which, by the way, is
It
awesome.
is, I love my hamster.
My husband cooks dinner too, so I can't, yeah, we have to appreciate
Yes,
all
no,
of it.
I love it, I and it's just so and I think that's why we like these fictional characters is because of the words that they say, right? They have to say these things, like, they have to put their feelings out on paper. So, I have quotes, but I think they're, like, from both books, and I know I have about 60 quotes.
Oh, I have a ton. So I've actually starred the 60 or 70 that I have of the ones that are like the best. But yeah, we have a lot.
Yes.
I've never known hunger until I met you. I have been starved since the day I laid eyes on you, Briar Shea. His gaze locks with mine in a promise. Now I'll feast.
Okay. Well, I have 2. Mine are gonna be short and simple.
Yeah.
So, I like it in when he goes, "Are you a witch?" He winks at me. in the sense that I have a magic touch and a broomstick you can ride whenever you wish.
That is perfection. It was on here too, so I can delete that one.
And then the next one I have is, I'm saying I will lick you until my tongue falls off if that's what you desire.
He literally anything for her.
Wow.
Another one is, yes, your mother and Mac love you, but I would die for you. I would kill for you. I would drown in the blood of all the men who would try to hurt you rather than let them lay a single finger on you. I will go to any lengths, use any means necessary to keep you safe. I am not your enemy, Briar. I am your greatest ally, your other half. Nothing bad will happen to you as long as I'm around. Dang. Dang.
That was a really good one. One of them says, Saint, no man has ever whisked me away for a writing retreat. No man has ever taken an interest in my writing or my books, two of the things I love most in the world. No man has ever sent me a book off my wish list, let alone every damn book. No man has ever watched over me like you or taught me how to protect myself. No man has ever believed in me like you have or loved me like you have. You've killed for me. You've risked everything to be with me. So, as insane as it makes me, yes, I want to come back and be here with you. Where's the call? Oh.
Another one.
Yes.
I bite down hard on my lip. Fuck. He can read me like a book he fucking wrote.
Well, interesting.
I have the "Are you a witch" one too. Like we probably have a lot
Yes.
of us with the same one.
One of them is whenever they're at the gun range and she is getting pretty cocky and she's like, are you going to come in your pants when I finally shoot this thing? My hot breath caresses her ear and she shivers. If I'm going to come in anything, it's going to be your cunt. It's like, dang. Okay,
Yeah.
breaking out the C word. That's nice.
Another one. Have I ever told you how sexy you are? Your eyes tell me every time you see me. And then he says, my eyes need to shut the fuck up. I chuckle. They're very chatty. They cannot keep a secret. She is so snarky in the absolute best way. Like she's the one, she opens her mouth and she says things that you wish you could say in the moment when something happens.
Yeah. Oh, okay, here you go. Wow. So that's how you fuck your girlfriend, huh? So if she was listening to our dinner conversation, at least parts of it. No, you've been my wife since I laid eyes on you. I was like, yes. And then
Immediately.
one of them, this is the one I read to my husband, and I was like, dude, come on now.
Example.
He
Example.
goes, she is more important than any of my wants or needs. I would gladly stop breathing if she needed my oxygen.
I literally just pulled that up to read next.
That's the one I sent to the hupster, and I was like, see? Would you give me your
I
oxygen? He's like, this is
I
ridiculous.
would gladly stop breathing if she needs my oxygen. Insane.
Okay, my last one, and then because I mean, we could keep going. Like,
Yeah,
there's
no,
so
no.
many good quotes, but this is okay. This is my maybe second to last one, but here we go. It says, "Even when death comes for me, I'm crawling from my grave to find you in the afterlife." She can't help the smile that tugs at her lips. I've always wanted a man who would crawl to me.
Okay, I have one last one. I got two. Sorry.
Mhm.
One, his answer is quick and sure. I would never force you to do anything, but I would ask you, what are you really afraid of? Being hurt by me or falling in love with me?
Oh, so good.
Oh. And then my last one, if my tongue is evil, then let me help you sin.
Oh, shut it. Okay. And then my last one. Okay. Mine's a little bit more lovey-dovey. It says, "You're my everything. If I don't have you, I'm nothing. I said I'd give you anything you want. If you want my blood on your hands, you can spill it. If you want the light to leave my eyes, you can extinguish it." Oh. So the other
The words on the paper
thing
were wild, obsessive, and so sexy.
And the thing is like his obsession with her and how much he just craved her and loved her, worshiped her. I loved it whenever he was always like, eyes on me. Nothing exists whenever we're together. Like, it's just you and me. But so we have that. But then there's this whole storyline that's going on. And
Mystery. It's a mystery, a true mystery.
there's all the like everything intertwines, and I loved that. I loved how the best friend and his best friend and this I don't wanna give too much away, but, like, how
No,
their
yeah.
stories intertwine, like, their
The shockers, the shockers in the book where we're like, "OMG." I
this
won't say it
like,
because I don't wanna
this
ruin
plot
it, but it's
twist and this, like, oh my gosh, it was so good. The storyline was really good. But I would say like 50% of the book was his obsession with her. Like, it took a majority of the book, and I wasn't mad
six
about it.
yeah, 65%, I think it
I
was
wasn't mad.
no, no, I was mad that I was basically enticed to like a character that we would never like in real life, and I think that's the kind of point with fiction books is that it's not real life. I still sometimes battle a little bit like, "Why should I be liking this?" But then when you finish that second book, you're like, "Oh, yes."
You're
But I was already in book 1. Do you know what I mean?
you're like, "Yeah." I think you were having doubts about me whenever I was like, I am in love with this fictional character. Like, he is obsessed, he's dark, he's twisted, he's morally black, and I'm not upset about it." And you were like,
Hmm.
"It's a mass stalker and he's a serial killer?" I'm like, "Well,
I'm not getting it.
he's not a serial killer. I mean, he's killed multiple times, but it's not like 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 there's rules." So,
Bum.
anyway, so I mean, he does
Yeah.
unalive a few people,
Yes.
but it's to protect her. I mean, was it a little bit aggressive in his approach? Yes.
Were they warranted? Also, sort of yes,
I
and
mean, I don't think it was warranted to unalive those people. I think he could have just
well, one of them would I mean,
he could have handled it better, you know.
true. True.
But, like, I get in his twisted mind, that was okay. And in her also twisted mind, it was acceptable
Yeah.
over time.
And I would I you need to read both books.
Yeah.
I think it would be very upsetting for you to get one book and not have the other book because when it ends, all you wanna do is turn the page on the next book.
Mhm. And it really does start right where book 1 ends, like, the right.
Quick read.
So, anyway, let's move on to the spice, right? So, for
Mm.
me, the spice be spicing, and it was well detailed. However, there was one scene where he was given carte blanche in the bedroom, right? Any position he wanted, and I felt like it was a wee bit of a letdown for the scenes that followed. Like,
100%.
it was good, like, don't get me wrong. It's just not what I expected from his character. Like, the obsession that he had with her and his devotion to her, and now he has free range to do whatever, and he does boop, and I was like, "Huh." Well, that I was just kind of like a letdown. Still, overall rating was a 3, nearing a 4.
Okay.
If you're looking at both books together as if they were one, I would say it was a 4 in the spice,
Huh.
maybe 3.5. I would have
So
had.
I It's so interesting because I have book 1 as a 2 spice because there was not as much sex scenes in that one. I mean, like, it took longer to get there, I guess I would say, and then book 3 was a 3.
Well, I have 3.
Leaning to a 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nearing a 4, and I think it's nearing a 4 when I think about it because of the obsession that he had, like, his mouth, like, how devoted in, like, his words to her. I was like, "Yeah, that was nice." But the scenes overall, yes, I would say it was a 3.
Yeah. Alright, what about your overall rating?
So, like I said, I devoured both of these books in less than 36 hours. I think it was only 24. So I absolutely loved them. I think this was a solid 4 for the masked stalker dark romance.
So, I think book 1 was a 4, and book 2, I'm thinking it's a 5. I have still been thinking about it since we read it a while ago now, I mean, a while ago. For us, book-wise, it was a while ago.
2 weeks ago.
Um, yeah, but yeah, I'm still thinking about it. That's a 5 to me.
Yeah. The fact that I could pull some quotes out of thin air, that's pretty good, but
Wouldn't you if somebody said, "I want a dark stalker," isn't this the first book that would like, probably pop up for you to refer?
it would be in my top 3.
Okay, see, I top 3, if it's your top 3, isn't that a 5?
So for me, we're we're going back to the rating system, people. For me, a 5 is like a book that I will think about in some way or form, like every day, every other day. Like there's only one series that I think about constantly. And I'm kind of thinking like maybe I need to do a reread of this series and see if it's actually as good as my mind makes it out to be.
I agree with you because 'cause I've had some 5s that I'm now are like a 4. So, yeah, I think
So
so.
I'm kind of like, maybe we should reread this series. But there's only, and in that series, it's a 6-book series. Only the last 3 have really caught my attention.
Yeah,
And so, like, I think about those books all the time, and when everybody if anybody says anything to do with any of those tropes, because there's a lot of tropes in the series that's my 5 star, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, this one." Oh, I always recommend it. It's like my go-to. So,
well, if you wanna reread it, that's great because I need to read
yes,
it. So,
yes, but
you keep talking about it, I'm like, "I need to read this 5."
this to me, solid 4. Yes, it's a great mass stalker dark romance. I thought it was really I love the dark humor, I love the snarky banter, I love the underlying plot line. I loved his voice and how he talked, obviously, we all know this. And I loved, like, the little Easter eggs that, like, looking back, you can see him throughout the book and how it all
Yes.
plays out. So I think this is a solid 4. Will I think about this book every day? No. But I would highly recommend it.
I feel like too why I think it would be a 5, I'm just gonna give it overall, like book 1, 4, book 2, 5. But really, the reason why for that is when a writer makes me change my opinion, I find that is amazing. And I don't have anything that I was angry with about in this
No.
book or disappointed or questioning or I mean, of course, you can always have questions. You always want to find out more after the fact. It didn't just keep my attention, but it made me think about the book when I was doing other things. Like I wanted to be reading that book. That to me is a 5. So I loved it. Recommend it.
Whenever you said things that we question, and we normally have questions about
A lot.
books. Yeah. And this one I didn't have any. I think the only thing that I wanted a little bit more of, and it's so like spoiled brat, I want more of this. Was besides him going a little bit darker for his carte blanche thing, the 2 side characters, they're both their best friends. I wanted to see their story. I want the author to write their story so
Yeah, I'm hope when I see things like this and the book is so good, I typically assume they're gonna write a little bit about some of the other
I
characters, but you
hope
never know.
so. Because I really like their story and how obsessed her friend was with his best friend,
Yes,
and
yes.
I wouldn't say it was his best friend, but
No, but
writer
I think
friend.
they were closer than a yeah,
Yeah,
than a
his
yeah.
writer colleague, and I just wanna see their story unfold, and I think that's the only thing I wanted was, like, just more but it wasn't their story, this book, right? This book was Briars and Saints, so, like I said, I'm just spoiled, I wanted to hear more about them.
And I really was happy with, like, how it ended. Normally, I'm like,
Oh, it
I
ended
need more from the end or I need less from the end. I don't you know what I mean? Like, this was, like, perfection.
I think for you, what I've noticed from reading books with you is that you get a little flustered whenever they rush the ending.
I I get very upset because
I
for
was being
me, if
nice.
it's a really good book, I like to put it down, make myself, like, want it a little bit more, and then bring it back and start reading, and this book was yeah, so I get very upset at endings if they aren't given their due.
And
This
so
was perfection.
exactly. This ending was not rushed. It was well thought out, tied everything together in a nice bow, I think. And the way it ended was really well done.
And if you guys do read this book or have read this book, I wanna know what your thoughts are without giving it away on the marriage proposal, because that was that was brilliant. Like, I wanna see that in real life. That's how good it was.
I told you, it was definitely a rom-com movie
Yes, this
worthy.
should be a movie. This could be a movie.
It could. It definitely could be. And I don't say that about a lot of books,
No. No, no, no. This
but
one for sure.
there were so many twists and turns. I feel like one of the twists would make it a little bit complicated in the book,
Would be very complicated, I'm sure,
but
but
it was just so well done. I loved it. A 4 for me, a 4 and a 5 for you.
5, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, babes. If you loved hanging out with us today, don't forget to check out the show notes for all the juicy details and links. You can also join our chat for exclusive updates and behind the scenes goodies. And I know my friend Amber's going to tell you about our freebie that you're going to love.
Yes, so we have a freebie that's out. Check the show notes or follow us on Instagram to get it. It's basically a kind of like we were inspired by those old Glamour and Cosmopolitan quizzes in the back of those magazines. And so we created this discover your next book boyfriend quiz. And so it's just a few simple questions, 6 questions, and then we give you at least 4 book boyfriends. So 4 books to dive into based on what you kind of vibe with. And I will say that Saint made it as one of the book boyfriends because I loved it so much.
It's a 5. I'm gonna make Amber make it a 5.
No,
This is really a mission that I'm gonna be going after, and by the way, I have to give props for my partner here because she's the genius that made this quiz, and it's not like a go on the website and answer questions and then something pops up. It's like a PDF that you can have with these recommendations for books. It's brilliant.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah, I mean, I had a blast, and I put several of the book boyfriends that we recommend in there. Like you'll see, Column is in there. Oh my gosh.
Ugh.
I won't give any, but Saint's also in there. I won't say any more, but there's at least 24 different book boyfriends. And when I took the quiz, I was kind of shocked with my results because I am a hard, dark academia vibe kind of girl. And that is not what I got. And I was like, oh, okay. That's,
What did you get again?
oh, I got mafia.
And what will you love? Don't you
I
love the
know, but
mafia?
I thought I liked dark academia with, like, the professor vibe more, and then it was like and so it was funny because I took the quiz, and then I gave
Yep.
it to my hubster, and I was like, "Hey, take the quiz for me," and he's like,
To
"Oh,
see what he thinks you like?
yeah,"
That's great, I'm gonna have my husband do
and
that.
so he's doing everything, and he's like, "Ta ta ta ta," and so I'm like, "What did you get?" He's like, "I got this," and I was like, "Oh, that's cinnamon roll." So it was really funny, and so we had to
For
dissect.
those wait, for those who don't know what cinnamon roll is, can you describe what that
A
is, please?
cinnamon roll is basically my hubster, right? So they're completely just swoon worthy guys who just are head over heels for the female main character, and
Treat her well.
they're obsessed, but they have healthy boundaries. They are like the best friend that turns into, the lover. And so it's basically my hubster. And so we had to go through each question and I was like, "Oh, what about this?" And he's like, "I put this." I'm like, "Oh, I like this." He's like, "You think you like that?" I was like,
You like
"Oh."
to read that, but in real life, you like
I
this.
was like, "Well, yeah, it's a book boyfriend." Like I was like, "It's not real life." I was like, "Real life is
What was
fun."
mine? I forgot what mine turned out to
Yours
be.
was spot on. Yours was dark
What was
romance,
Yeah.
which I thought was
I didn't
weird.
know I liked dark romance, though, that's the funny thing.
I
I mean, I
seriously
know I like dark romance, I'm just saying I have to take it I wanna take it again because you added a couple questions, right,
did.
after.
It was really funny because I thought you were gonna get billionaire romance, so whenever I was designing the questions, I thought it would be I
That's what I thought too.
I was choosing things that I knew you would like, and you chose dark romance, and I was like, "Huh, no, that's interesting." But
If you got me 6 months ago, it would be a different answer.
it would
It would
because
have been cinnamon roll
well,
or billionaire. One or the other.
It's funny because since we started reading books together, you have now fallen for a dark masked stalker, learned what reverse harems are, and a megaverse. So I am that friend that corrupts.
And Alien.
Alien and
What?
monster.
I'm just saying, I am diving into all of it right
Oh my
now, and
god.
I can't be
It's
mad.
official. I'm the friend that corrupts people. Okay. Anyway, of course, ladies, follow us for more spicy reads, hot takes, unfiltered fun. Make sure to snag your copy of the quiz. It's called Discover Your Next Book Boyfriend. It's on our website as well in the show notes below. But until next time, stay morally gray.